Hello, my crafty friends. Today I'm going to attempt something I don't do very often, which is kind of create on the fly. I've got a few things created already. I really want to create a Father's Day card that's for my husband. It's kind of a running joke. He's a guy that hates cards. And so his joke is that I always make him cards that are handmade, so he feels guilty to throw them away. So he never throws them away. But I really was inspired by this past card that I had made. It's a simple pop-up card that really does just pack a lot of wow. Very simple to recreate. But I kept looking at this BBQ Master grill set that I really bought because I really love the saying, "You're flippin' awesome." And so I thought this would be a perfect stamp set and die set to use on a card. And so I'm going to attempt to turn this floral card into a masculine Father's Day card. So that's where we're starting. So I did kind of do some advanced prep, so I'm going to kind of go through. You're going to need a 5.5 by 11 card base, and you're going to score it at 5.5. Now this is not going to fit in your standard envelope, which I'm okay with because I'm going to hand deliver it. And then you're also going to score it diagonally from this corner to this corner. And if you haven't done that before, you can either draw a line, or you can just line this up in your trimmer, putting this corner up here, the bottom corner down here, and then making sure your cutting blade is out of the way, and then scoring. And so what that's going to give us, that pop-up fold that we want, so that it's going to sit like this, and it's going to create that triangle. So I have that done, and I'm going to set that aside. The next thing is you're going to need 2 pieces of DSP, both 5-inch squares. So I do have those cut out. I chose to use the Country Woods paper. I'm kind of using a variation on the 2 colors. So one is for my inside, and then my front one. Once again, we're going to cut that on the diagonal because we're going to use it to place on both of these. So I kind of drew a line so that you could see it, but I'm going to line those up again, corner to corner, cut, and then I have my 2 pieces. And because I cut them at 5-inch square, they automatically fit like they're supposed to, and they're matted on there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get those glued down, and then I'm going to go into some of the die cuts. And I see I was a little bit off, so I am going to pull out an eraser, hopefully, if I can find one, and try and just erase that light pencil mark that I had. So there's that. Pull out my seal. Now you can use seal. I'm going to use a combination of seal and my green glue today. And the most important thing on this is that you're just making sure that your wood grain is all going the same direction. So it shouldn't really matter. And obviously that you're using the same colors on there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere this on the inside. So that gets me my inside. As you can see on my original, I have the circles, and then I have the stopper inside that is a circle. So I do have that. Those were all cut out with stylish shapes. So if you think it's going to kind of be like this, I'm pulling out my stylish shapes as I'm kind of talking. Like this is going to be in the center. These are a little bit smaller than the other ones, and I think that's okay. I just used what I had, and I tried to make them fit. It's still going to pop up, and it's still going to look fine. So I'm going to go ahead and just mat these all together. I'm not going to glue them down just yet, but I find it's easier if they're all one piece to work with. And once again, you're just going to want to make sure when you put it on there that your wood grain is going the same direction. I did cut out another one for the inside. I'm going to just kind of set that there for right now. I may have to go back now that I'm looking at this and die cut one that's just a little bit bigger. In the darker wood grain, or I could just flip it over and use the other side because I'm going to do something like this. So that may be what I do, but I really think for consistency, I might just go ahead here while we're talking, and if I can find the paper that I need, I might just go ahead and try and die cut one additional piece out of the pecan pie. Of course, when you need a piece of cardstock, you cannot find it anywhere. Had a hole. Okay, well, we're just going to take a little bit of a thing and think for a second. There's my stuff. Found it. I had hid it so that it was cleaned off my desk. I just running over to my die cut machine to kind of cut these really quick. And all I'm just trying to do is create some contrast for when the time comes. So that I will have a contrasting piece for this. So I'm going to go ahead and, for this, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that down for the inside. And so I know that that is going to get popped up on the inside when the time comes. And then I have this to put that ear flipping awesome. But I'm going to go ahead and hold on to this because I'll be stamping that when the time comes. That is also cut out of the Stylish Shapes dies. So made great use of those. Over here, I kind of tried to show you everything I die cut. So I used lots of bits and pieces and scraps and just to kind of create some visual interest on what we're going to do. So, I mean, I have a spatula, I have the burger, I have the bun, I have some brats, I have a fire, I have a ketchup and a mustard, some cheese. So I just kind of wanted to create a bunch of stuff to go with my grill. I also die cut my grill ahead of time. I die cut it before I stamped it. So we're going to hope that I do those things correctly. I also die cut one of these little oven mitts. So I have that. These are just little bins. I'm trying to keep my dies in so I don't lose them because there's an awful lot of bitsy pieces. And then I also have just a paper strip here and an extra piece of paper just to kind of put the Happy Father's Day and different sentiments on there. So I am going to go ahead and start doing some stamping. My first thought was I'm going to go ahead and stamp on this flame in red as soon as I find a piece of scratch paper to put underneath of us. Why is it that whenever you need something, you cannot find it? So we'll grab a piece of paper. So I'm just going to kind of put this underneath of there. And we're going to do a bunch of stamping. So my idea was I wanted it to look like yellow flames. And so I was kind of taking the easy way out instead of trying to color it. I just decided to go ahead and do red right over the top of it. I haven't used these stamps yet, so I'm trying to make sure they've got some juice on them. So this is just Poppy Parade. I'm going to do my best to line it up. And then I have some flames from my grill. I also have this little bitty oven mitt that I want to stamp that I did not pre-block. So I'm going to grab that. And we're going to do the same thing. I think I'm just going to stick kind of with the red. My whole idea was not to bring out a whole bunch of color. But I just kind of want to make sure I've got some things on here. Try and line this up the best I can. White on white is not easy to match. And I think that's close enough for what I'm trying to do today. Then I have this lovely barbecue grill, which I'm going to try and do the same thing. I was just, I was originally going to do this in Poppy Parade, but since I did this oven mitt in Poppy Parade, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my basic gray and ink this up. Hopefully this works out just fine. Otherwise, I'm going to have to break out my platform. Oh, that's going to give me nice coverage. I said normally I would stamp and then die cut, but I really was trying to have everything kind of die cut for us. Which is a little bit, it's off a little bit, but it is going to be on a white background, so I don't think it's going to be too bad of an image. Set that off to the side. And so as I'm kind of going with these, it's going to be kind of have this and maybe this hanging off the side. We're going to have probably some flames and coming out of there. So I think it's going to look really, really cute when we're done. So my next step, I'm going to hold on to these. And I have this ketchup and the mustard. I do have these little bit, there is a little bitty stamp that goes with those. I was going to try tone on tone, see if it comes up. It shows up a little bit, not as much as I would really like. So I might just come back and do this again, flip it over. Let's try it in basic gray and see how that works instead. And so there's my ketchup. Then I'm actually going to stamp off and I'm going to do the same on my mustard. I just didn't want it to look quite as dark on my mustard. The mustard and the flames, and when I get to the cheese, those were all actually done on crushed curry because I wanted it to look like a little bit of the yellowish, orangish, golden color. So I am on to Happy Father's Day. So let's do Happy Father's Day in basic gray. Let's see how that turns out. Like I said, this is just a white strip that's left over from any given card thing that I might have done. I do lots of them, and so I save a lot of my paper strips. I have a jar that I keep, I have an old mason jar that I keep paper strips in, and I just grab them and use them when I need them. It's great if you need to cover something up. And then this one was going to be, we're going to do the You're Flippin' Awesome on the inside. And I think I want that to be with the Poppy Parade. And it just happens to fit perfectly on this banner from Stylish Shapes. So we have a You're Flippin' Awesome. And then we have one more to the Grill Master, which I happen to have, since it worked out so well on that, I have one more. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in a little bit more of that Poppy Parade and stamp to the Grill Master. And I do believe that's all of our stamping at this point. So So I'm going to go ahead and close my ink pad so I don't have an ink accident as I normally do. And move all these off to the side. And bring back my card into the center. So our whole purpose, if you remember, is our card is going to stand up like this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some dimensionals under this. And you don't need a whole lot. I'm using the large ones just because that's what I happen to have sitting on my desk. Stray pieces there. And I'm just trying to kind of fold up and see, I almost put my wood grain going the wrong direction. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of put it like that because that's kind of how I want my card to be. I'm going to put this right here as soon as I find my tambo. And of course I happen to grab a bottle that's not open. How did I do that? I must have ran out. A little bit will do ya. Add this to the center here. And then I'm good there. Now, when we go to put these circles on the front, we want to remember that our card is going to pop up. So we're only going to put our adhesive on this side of the circle. And I didn't wait very long. And so that popped up while I was messing with it. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm only going to put it on the bottom. That's going to give me a little bit of wiggle room. But I'm also going to add just a little bit of seal here just to hold it down. So that when I go to put this on, it's only going to be here. And there's no adhesive here because you want it to be able to flip up just like this. So once you have that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere my grill to here. And as you can see, those little pieces aren't even really showing. And this can all be adhered to that circle because it's all on here. And so you can see when it goes to stand up, or maybe, I'm not sure how, that it will show and it will have the grill popping up. And it seems like I did not put anything on there, so I'm just going to sneak a little bit of glue in there just to kind of hold it. Okay. I have a Happy Father's Day banner here somewhere. There it is. I'm going to go ahead and grab my snips. And I think I'm just going to banner cut this. Easiest way, put just a little bitty cut in the middle and then go from each corner and cut out your center. And we want this to pop up. So I think I'm going to do this like here. I don't want it to go off the edge of my card, but I want it to really pop. So I'm just going to go ahead and slide it just barely under there. And it's fine as long as it's glued to the card like that. So I do check it quite often, making sure. I think this would look really, really cute just hanging there. So I'm going to go ahead. And actually, we could probably use a dimensional and pop this up. Normally, I don't add a whole lot of dimensionals. If I'm putting it on the front, I don't put them on the back. But like I said, I'm hand delivering this, so it is not a big deal. I'm pulling off some of my die cuts. I have a sausage on here, and another one, and I'm just wondering, because I was going to add some flames. So I think that looks really cool like that. It's kind of coming out of the side. And I'm going to use another dimensional just so that I can pop those burgers out under there. I'm sorry, not the burgers, the bratwurst or sausages or whatever you want to say. It is kind of hard to get two of them on there, but we'll just kind of lay them across there since I already got some glue on there. I don't want to unglue them. So I have that. And then I was going to add to the Grill Master here. And I do kind of want them to look straight. I didn't have it completely straight. So as I'm testing it out, it's popping up like this. And now I have all these extra embellishments that I can kind of play with. I have a spatula that I can maybe hang off the edge here. Or maybe I just put it here so that, and that's what I'm going to do. And this was just cut out of a piece of silver scrap. I literally tried to find every piece of scrap I could. Actually, I think it was a scrap that had flowers on it, but when I die cut it, the flowers came out, so you can't really see them. And then somewhere on the inside, I wanted to put my burger, and so I'm going to kind of build my burger. And I think I'm just going to put it here and try and build it around there. Or maybe I'll put it down here. Going to be these are very, very tiny die cut pieces. Definitely requires a little bit of patience, so we say. I'm going to add a little bitty burger, which it is cool. The burger comes with all these little bitty dots that makes it look like it's got seasoning and all that stuff on there. So there's your burger. It does come with a piece of cheese to go on it, which he'll laugh because I never have cheese on my burger because I don't do any dairy. Dairy does not like me, but he loves cheese on his, so I'm just going to go ahead and add that on there. So there's some cheese. It does also include, whoops, our cheese got a little melted on there. It does include this super, super cute piece of lettuce. So I'm going to add that. My fingers are getting awfully gluey because you just need a little bit on these. And then here's the top of my burger. Now I could go through and I could have used like a dauber and change the colors of these, but I kind of like the contrast of the crumb cake versus the pecan pie, so I just kind of left it. Now I still have 3 die cuts left. I have this lovely shish kebab fork in there. I may even just put that like that and see how that looks. It is kind of hard because it's popped up a little bit. But I do just kind of like how that looks against the image. So I have that. And now all I have is I have a ketchup and a mustard. And so I think I'm going to come back and just put these like down here, just off to the side and kind of stagger them. Remembering that I think I want the dark ketchup or the ketchup with the dark label. It's hard because my fingers are all sticky, and so everything is sticking to me. Even more than it's sticking to the cardstock. So in the end, so this is the front of my card, and then I pop it up, and this is what he'll see. And there's plenty of room on the inside. I will probably come back, especially since I've got some glue here, and cut a piece of white cardstock and just stick it on the inside, or at least on the bottom, to give me a place to write my message. But there you go, turning a previously very floral image into a masculine card. I hope you enjoyed this video.